Jimmy Kimmel, tell me more. And this one's for all of you. Jimmy, cry. Cry for us. I want to see those tears. They sustain you.
Let's be honest. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants, security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO.
You know what I love is that he starts crying when he gets to Ukraine. He's like, Ukraine.
So Tim Pool slams Jimmy Kimmel's insane crying episode on the night night after the election gave its results and everything. Now, I watched the clip of Jimmy Kimmel crying and it was, I'll be honest, it was cringe, okay? It was really, really cringe. And Jimmy Kimmel, I thought he was a better man than that, but apparently, you know, Kamala Harris really touched him somehow, or it could be all done for show. But Tim Pool is actually giving some, you know, crazy comments against Jimmy Kimmel's, you know, crying over, you know, absolutely nothing about Kamala Harris losing the presidential election, and Jimmy Kimmel crying and absolutely being roasted by Tim Pool, and it slams the left for the insane meltdown over Trump. So let's go ahead and get right into this Tim Pool clip.
Cast.com, get it. Let's read the news. The New York Post says liberal late night show hosts Kimmel, Colbert, and more dramatically melt down over Trump's election victory. A terrible night. I love this. A terrible night? How dare you call it a terrible night? It was a victory for the American people. It was a popular vote victory. But sure, Jimmy Kimmel, tell me more. And this one's for all of you. Jimmy, cry. Cry for us. I want to see those tears. They sustain you.
Let's be honest. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go. For healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO.
You know what I love is that he starts crying when he gets to Ukraine. He's like, Ukraine.
For the truth and democracy and decency and...
For democracy is my favorite part. Do you know what it's called, Jimmy Kimmel, when the majority of the people vote for a leader and he wins? That's called democracy.
It was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him, and guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Oh, really? Because I seem to recall 2019 when we had great economic numbers. Look at these people. This is paranoid, delusional psychopathy. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't actually care about the issues. He doesn't care about democracy. He cares about Ukraine. I want to play this again.
Justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine.
He couldn't even say it. He's on the verge of crying because a country he can't find on a map may have to stop fighting.
Not to mention a lot of stuff happened involving Ukraine since 2014 that the mainstream media doesn't even want to touch, okay? And Tim Pool is actually, you know, insulting, you know, Jimmy Kimmel crying and everything, but Jimmy Kimmel, he shouldn't be crying about this. And I'm actually double-sided about this because we have here, you know, as Tim Pool is showing here, Kimmel is actually crying because of on one part, I'm thinking, you know, he's actually crying because of the fact that he's probably for all of these things that the left care about, you know, the environment, women's rights, so on and so forth, and he probably believed that and stuff, and or this could all be, you know, a publicity thing. I'm not saying it is, but it's possible. I just don't know because of the fact that he's a late night host and stuff, and he might have talking heads above him and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, that's you know, speculation. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but if that's the case, then we got some crooked people out here in the mainstream media as well as in the entertainment industry, and it's no wonder why the late night industry is crumbling and stuff, because you got people like Jimmy Kimmel and stuff showing their bias, their leftist bias stuff. Yes, I'm saying leftist bias because that's the only biases I've seen from the mainstream media so far, where they're going ahead pushing this particular narrative and defending Kamala over some key issues and stuff that she can't even get right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into this whole Tim Pool, you know, clip about that's absolutely roasting and slamming Jimmy Kimmel's insane crying episode.
Amazing. Jimmy, you are nuts. But okay. We got Colbert here. Let's listen to his whinging rant. Once again, these people are incapable of realizing what democracy really is.
Oh, Stephen Colbert. Well,
Yeah. Crime war.
it happened again. After a bizarre and vicious campaign fueled by a desperate need not to go to jail, Donald Trump has won the 2024 election.
Indeed he did.
Indeed. It's almost like you rehearsed that. The deep shock and sense of loss is enormous. Okay, but let's
I'd
look
like
at
to
the
pause. Actually, the deep shock and sense of loss is the minority position, so it's not enormous.
bright side. This way, at least there'll be a peaceful transfer of power.
There wasn't in 2016 when the Obama administration framed Donald Trump as a Russian spy, launched a multi-million-dollar investigation against him, impeached him over these, in connection with these ridiculous claims, fabricated evidence, spied on him, and still, after the past 8 years, tried to put him in prison. You call that a peaceful transfer of power, you nut job?
Mike Pence, Ali Oxenfree. All day yesterday, I was walking around proudly wearing my I voted sticker. Today, I wore my I am questioning my fundamental belief in the goodness of humanity.
Maybe you should question your beliefs in the crackpot lies you disseminate.
Hang on. I am questioning my fundamental belief in the goodness of humanity. It's amazing. It's people like Stephen Colbert and everything who will wear stuff like this when their narrative isn't being pushed to the forefront and it's being ignored and the opposition is actually put in place, okay? So all of this is not only annoying, but it's also not surprising and stuff. But hey, we got 4 more years of, greatness to return to this nation and stuff, to the point where we see that even world leaders have started to go ahead and start changing up their tune. Now we're seeing that, the war in Ukraine, as Jimmy Kimmel was talking about, it's about to come to an end, because now we get worried that, Ukraine, the Ukrainian president and Russian president are looking to come together to make peace negotiations. You also have a Hamas and Israel war about to come to an end. Basically, we need a businessman, not a businessman like Bush, George W. Bush himself, but like basically Trump. Okay, Trump is the kind of businessman that looks out for the greater good of everybody, for both of those who love him as well as hate him. And the fact of the matter is, the left just can't really get that through their heads because of the fact that, they're talking about, it's a shame that they chose cheaper gas prices instead of women's rights and everything. But the fact of the matter is, the price of gas will actually lower, the price of everything else. Not talking about only, the kind of gas that we put in our vehicles, but also the gas that's used to run the different trucks to transport different goods, as well as foods and stuff. And also the machines and stuff that help to keep certain foods cool and everything, as well as to harvest the different kind of crops and stuff, like the fruits and vegetables and stuff that the left also seem to enjoy, that they seem to forget. But I've had enough of this crime from the mainstream shills and all of that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you might have this particular topic. If you enjoyed what I said in this video, go ahead, smash the like button, share this video for all across social media. And if you ever done so already, enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification so that way you be notified future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.